Happy Samvidhan Divas. We regard 26 November as the Constitution Day of India. But why do we regard this day as the Constitution Day of India? In order to know this, we must know what is Constitution. A constitution is a comprehensive document that describes the rights and duties of the citizens and the manner according to which the governance of a country is to be carried out. On the whole, the aim of a constitution is to ensure smooth governance of a nation for the welfare of its citizens. Now the question arises, how did this idea of constitution strike into the minds of Indians? Well, in 1946, the cabinet mission arrived in India and put forward a set of proposals to meet the demands of the freedom fighters. One of these proposals involved a setting up of a constituent assembly that would frame the Constitution of India. Elections to this constituent assembly were completed by July 1946, and the Constituent Assembly of Undivided India consisted of 389 members. Dr. Rajendra Prasad was the president of the Constituent Assembly, and its first meeting was held on December 9, 1946 at the present Central Hall of the Parliament. It can be said that the Constituent Assembly was truly national in character, for it gave adequate representations to all the sections of the Indian society. On August 29, 1947, a drafting committee was set up under the chairmanship of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, popularly known as Baba Saheb, the architect of the Indian Constitution. And this committee was entrusted with the drafting of the Indian Constitution. The draft was ready by February 1948, and it underwent 3 readings before it finally passed. It took 2 years, 11 months and 17 days to finally pass the Constitution. The Constitution of India was adopted and passed on November 26, 1949, and for which we regard this day as the Samvidhan Divas of India.
Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar's contribution to the Constitution of India. Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, popularly known as Baba Saheb, was one of the architects of the Constitution of India. The Indian Constitution and its drafting process are often seen as synonymous with Ambedkar. He was an eminent jurist, economist, politician and social reformer, and also regarded as the father of the Indian Constitution, and is probably the most well-known of all Constituent Assembly members. Ambedkar became a key figure in India's constitution-making process due to the offices he held and his speeches in the Assembly. He was the chairman of the Assembly's most crucial committee, the Drafting Committee. Baba Saheb incorporated the following principles in the Constitution of India: made the Indian Constitution workable, flexible and strong enough to hold the country together, both in peace and in war; provided special safeguards to the minority and certain classes who are socially and educationally backward; incorporated the right to constitutional remedies to ensure that the fundamental rights of the individuals are not infringed by the central or the state governments; single citizenship, single judiciary and uniformity in fundamental laws to integrate Indian society. Therefore, he proposed a strong center to maintain territorial integrity and administrative discipline; incorporated directive principles to ensure social and economic democracy and welfare of the people of India.
The Preamble. Just like the preface to a book, the preamble is the introductory part of the Constitution of India. The ideals of the Constitution of India are embodied in the preamble. The preamble reflects the aims and objectives of the Constitution and basically serves 2 important functions of indicating the source from which the Constitution derives its authority and stating the objectives which the Constitution seeks to establish and promote. The preamble to the Constitution of India goes as follows. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic, and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this Constitution.
The fundamental rights are basic human rights which provide the conditions essential for the all-round development of a human being. They protect people against unjust discrimination. They give recognition to dignity and equality of all human beings. They don't make distinctions between human beings based on race, color, sex, religion, or other such considerations. There are 7 fundamental rights and each has some chief components of which is: first, right to equality. It has first Article 14, equality before law and equal protection of law. Then Article 15, prohibition of discrimination. Article 16, equality of opportunity in respect of employment. Article 17, abolition of untouchability. Article 18, abolition of titles. Second, right to freedom. It has Article 19, freedom of speech, expression, assembly, movement, settlement, and profession. Article 20, protection against conviction for offences. Article 21, protection of life and liberty. Article 22, protection against arrest and detention in certain cases. Number 3, right against exploitation. It has Article 23, prohibition of traffic in human beings and forced labor. Article 24, prohibition of employment of children under the age of 14 in factories, mines, etc. Number 4, right to freedom of religion. It has Article 25, freedom of conscience, profession, preaching, and propagation. Article 26, freedom to manage religious affairs. Article 27, freedom from payment of taxes for promoting particular religion. Article 28, freedom from attendance at religious instructions in certain educational institutions. Number 5, cultural and educational rights. It has Article 29, protection of language, script, culture, or minorities. Article 30, right to establish and administer minority educational, social, and cultural institutions. Number 6, right to constitutional remedies. It has Article 32, issue of writs that are habeas corpus, mandamus, prohibition, certiorari, and quo warranto. Number 7, right to education. It has Article 21A, free and compulsory education to all the children of the age of 6 to 14 years.
Duties and rights go hand in hand. There can be no rights in a society where there are no duties. The fundamental duties were added to the Constitution by the 42nd Amendment Act 1976 and inserted in Part 4 of the Constitution. The Article 51A of the Constitution states the following 10 duties of a citizen. Clause A, to abide by the Constitution and respect its ideals and institutions, the national flag and the national anthem. Clause B, to cherish and follow the noble ideals which inspired our national struggle for freedom. Clause C, to uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity of India. Clause D, to defend the country and render national service when called upon to do so. Clause E, to promote harmony and spirit of common brotherhood among all the people of India, transcending religious, linguistic and regional or sectional diversities, to renounce practices derogatory to the dignity of women. Clause F, to value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture. Clause G, to protect and improve the natural environment including forests, lakes, rivers, and wildlife, and have compassion for living creatures. Clause H. To develop the scientific temper, humanism, and the spirit of inquiry and reform. Clause I. To safeguard public property and abjure violence. Clause J. To strive towards excellence in all the spheres of individual and collective activity.
If there is no constitution, there will not be any rules for ruling the society and the people. There will be no mutual relations between the government and the governed. There will be complete dictatorship. The government may misuse their power by functioning according to their will and may oppress the people by depriving them of enjoying their fundamental rights and basic freedom. We are thankful enough to our ancestors for framing the Constitution of India and providing us a safe environment to live. So therefore, today, let us all pledge to prove ourselves to become worthy successors to the legacy left by our ancestors. Jai Hind.